you open your phone. 30 seconds. That's all it takes. Some guy your age just closed a Series A. Another one's posting from his apartment in Lisbon, the one with the terrace and the morning light. Your college roommate bought a house. Your LinkedIn feed is a highlight reel of everyone moving faster than you. And the worst part? You weren't even feeling behind until you looked. That's the thing nobody talks about. The feeling doesn't come from your life. It comes from the gap between your life and someone else's. You weren't losing the race. You didn't even know there was a race. Then you picked up your phone, and suddenly you were in last place. This is what comparison does. It doesn't motivate you. It hijacks your goals and replaces them with someone else's. One minute you wanted to build something specific, something that mattered to you. The next minute you want what he has, because he seems further ahead, and that gap feels like failure. You can't win a race you didn't choose to enter, but try telling that to the part of your brain that keeps checking the scoreboard. Here's something worth sitting with. Social media didn't create comparison. Humans have always looked sideways at each other. It's hardwired. What changed is the scale. For most of human history, you compared yourself to maybe 50 people. Your village, your trade, the men you knew, that's a manageable field. You could orient yourself within it. Now you're measuring yourself against millions simultaneously in real time, and you're only seeing their best day. The guy in Lisbon didn't post the month he was broke and anxious. The founder didn't post the 3 companies that failed before this one. You're measuring your full life, the 3 a.m. doubts, the years that didn't compound, the quiet embarrassments against their curated highlight. And the platforms are designed to keep you doing it, not because it helps you, because the comparison loop keeps you scrolling. Every productivity guru you follow is telling you to optimize your morning routine, build your personal brand, stack your wins publicly. The advice presupposes that the race is real and your job is to run it better. But what if the race is the problem? What if the men who seem most settled aren't winning the comparison game? They just quietly stop playing it. There's a man who was born a slave in the Roman Empire. His name was Epictetus. At some point, his master broke his leg deliberately to demonstrate that he had no power over him. Epictetus told him while it was happening, "You're going to break it." He was right. His master broke it. Epictetus looked at him and said, "Didn't I tell you?" The man had no citizenship, no property, no physical freedom. And he built one of the most useful frameworks for living that anyone has ever written down. His first principle: there are things in your control and things that aren't. Your opinions, your desires, yours. Everything outside your own mind, not yours. Other people's opinions of you. How fast your peers are moving. What the man in Lisbon owns, not yours, never were. He wrote, and pay attention to how direct this is. Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life. Men are disturbed not by the things which happen, but by the opinions about the things. When therefore we are hindered or disturbed or grieved, let us never blame any one of those things, but ourselves, that is, our own opinions. The comparison isn't happening to you. You're choosing to use it as a measuring stick. That's the opinion Epictetus is pointing at. Seneca was rich, obscenely, hypocritically rich by the standards of the philosophy he was writing. He knew it. He wrote about it anyway. The contradiction made him sharper. In his letters, he watches a friend consumed by the desire to have what other men have. Not because he's suffering, because he's comparing. Seneca writes, and this is over 2,000 years ago, but read it slowly. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. It does not matter how much you have. There will always be someone who has more. The man who is not satisfied with what he has would not be satisfied with everything the world contains. That's the mechanism. The goal isn't a destination. It's a moving target anchored to whoever's ahead of you. You hit the number, and the number moves. You reach the level, and somebody else is 3 levels above. Buddhist philosophy has a word for this, upadana, usually translated as attachment, but the more specific meaning is clinging. Not to things, but to an image of yourself, the man you're supposed to be, the version of you that earns the right comparison. Epictetus came at it through control, Seneca through craving. Buddhism through the self-image you're protecting. 3 traditions. Same diagnosis. You are suffering because you've made your worth conditional on a contest you didn't design.
Nietzsche had a phrase he kept returning to. Werde, was du bist. Become what you are. It sounds simple. It's not. The whole problem with comparison is that it pulls you away from what you are and toward what someone else is. You spend years building toward goals that were never yours, absorbed through the comparison loop, through what gets rewarded publicly, through what the men around you seem to want. And you probably know this about yourself. There's a version of your ambition that belongs to you, the projects you work on past midnight, compelled because you genuinely have to. The work you do when nobody's watching that feels like the real thing, that version. And there's the version you perform for the comparison, the LinkedIn version. The version that wants the apartment and the title and the visible markers of forward motion. Here's the recognition beat that most self-help skips. Those two versions are in direct conflict. Every hour you spend optimizing for the comparison, the visible stuff, the scoreboard metrics, is an hour you're not building the thing that's actually yours. Epictetus wasn't saying lower your ambitions. He was saying your ambitions got hijacked. The dichotomy of control isn't resignation, it's reclamation. Taking back the territory of your actual goals from the version that was installed by comparison. The practical question is this: what happens when you stop using him as the measurement? Not him specifically, all of them. The founder, the homeowner, the guy in Lisbon. What if you removed them from the equation, quietly, genuinely, because they were never measuring the right thing to begin with? Seneca would say, measure against where you were, not where he is. In letter 7 he writes, retire into yourself as much as you can, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those who you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. That's a different scoreboard. Your growth versus your starting point. Your choices versus the values you actually hold, not the ones the comparison loop installed. The men Seneca admired weren't the ones who won publicly. They were the ones who knew exactly what they were building and couldn't be argued out of it. They thought hard about what they wanted, not what impressed people. What they actually wanted to do with their one life. You can't unsee the comparison. Your brain is going to keep pulling toward the scoreboard. But you can ask, every time it does, whose race is this? Did I agree to run it? Most of the time the answer is no, and that's the moment where you choose, again and again, every day, to come back to your own work. If something here landed, subscribe. New videos on this channel go up each week. Ancient ideas applied to what you're actually dealing with right now. That's what this is for.